Right, we're nearly done, lads. Just one more fence to put in.
Boss, can we not go for a brew?
In a minute. We're nearly finished now. Let's just get this last fence in, alright? Huh? What's that noise? Anyone else hear that?
Boss! Behind you! Oh my God! Stampede! Quick! Run! Me drill! No! Not me new drill!
Hello, and welcome back to Prehistoric Savanah. Today, we're going to be making an enclosure for our third and final animal. The Ouranosaurus has arrived to the park. Rightio, let's get down to the business of creating this Ouranosaur habitat. But before we do, smash that like button to show your support for the park. As you can see, I've put the Ouranosaurus in the map already to give me a sense of scale. The last thing I want to do is make the enclosure either too big or too small. And we're going to have to make this one pretty big because we have 30 individuals here, and the last thing that we want is them getting lonely. So we've got 30 animals. You may be able to notice that one of them stands out a bit more than the rest of them. There is an albino Ouranosaur there. You can see him right in the middle. Very white, very pale, and I think we also have a melanistic one as well, which is very dark in colour. And the game generates these randomly, so you don't know what you're going to get. Every dinosaur on this game is different. No two are ever the same. So you can get melanistic ones, you can get albino dinosaurs, and the shade of the colour can be slightly different than the other one. And some of them are also a little bit bigger or smaller. I think it's a great idea that they've done. You know, every single dinosaur you have in your park is unique. So our herd consists of mostly females, which are slightly duller in colour, and the males have this very bright, vivid colour. I love the patterns and the colours that they put on the skin for the Ouranosaurus. They're just gorgeous. The beautiful blue colour at the top of the sail fading into green, and the lovely black contrast, the black pattern that goes over the top. It just looks so good, really good design. And you know what, I think that Ouranosaurus probably would have had bright vivid colours like this on their sails, especially the males, trying to show off to the females, maybe in the mating season. And do you know what? I want to talk a little bit about the sail of Ouranosaurus, because I find it very strange that two animals living in the same location both had sails. The Ouranosaurus and, of course, the Spinosaurus. I find it very odd that both of these animals lived together and they both had sails. And I have a theory to why I think this is. Now, of course, this is just my opinion. This is not scientific fact, but hear me out on this, because I think I have an idea of why this might have happened. So two animals with sails on their backs. Coincidence? Well, I don't believe in coincidence. I think there is a reason behind this. Why would an animal just evolve a massive sail? Well, I think that one of them would have evolved the sail first, and I think that's the Spinosaurus. And this could have been used for mating, or making the animal look bigger, more intimidating. But why did the Ouranosaurus also evolve this massive sail? Well, I think it's to do with copying. I think the Ouranosaurus has copied this sail to look like a Spinosaurus. You may be another predator walking around and mistake the sail of the Ouranosaur for a Spinosaur. Think about it for a minute. You're walking around looking for prey. The Ouranosaurus has got its head down, grazing, and maybe it's in long vegetation. I was going to say grass then, and then thought there was no grass around at this time. But imagine you just see this sail. You think, oh, hang on a minute. Is that a Spinosaurus or is it an Ouranosaur? So you might be a little bit hesitant to attack. And that hesitation may be the difference between life and death. Because if the predator isn't sure, it might have to try and get round to a different vantage point to really make sure that it definitely is prey. And while it's doing that, it might give away its position, or the animal might think, oh, it's a Spinosaurus, and leave well alone and think, oh, I'm getting out of here, I don't want to run into him because he might attack me. And you do see this with animals alive today. And one of the best examples I can think of are cheetahs. Now, cheetahs, when cheetahs are born, they look remarkably similar to a honey badger. The honey badgers have a white back with very long fur sticking up, and they have darker black fur underneath their body on their legs. And cheetah cubs are very, very similar to this. As you can see here, I'm going to put a picture on the screen. Look how similar they are. Now, from a distance, a predator might mistake the cheetah cub for a honey badger. And you might think, well, what's the purpose of this? What's the point? Well, if you've ever seen a honey badger or come across one, you'll notice that they have an incredibly bad attitude. They are incredibly feisty, and they put up one hell of a fight. They may be small, but my God, what they lack for in size, they make up for in attitude. These animals are ferocious. They will stand up against larger animals and hold their ground. They have almost no fear in them. They're crazy little beasts. They'll even take on the king of the jungle. They'll take on lions. Well, not take them on, but if a lion comes up to one, they will hold their ground. And this is a great adaptation, because if a predator does see a cheetah cub and mistakes it for a honey badger, they're going to stay well clear. Trust me, they're going to go, no way, I am not dealing with that. And that means that the survival of the cheetah's cubs, increases significantly. And it's not just cheetahs. We see many different examples of this throughout the animal kingdom. Animals mimicking other species. I'll give you another example. There is a venomous snake called the coral snake. And then there is another snake called the scarlet king snake, which is not venomous, but it looks very similar to a coral snake. So this snake has adapted and evolved over time to look very similar to the venomous snake. I think this is great. Why create your own venom when you can just look like a venomous snake? Because that's going to be a massive deterrent. It's going to put other animals off coming near you. Animals won't bother trying to eat you. They're going to think, oh my goodness, I'm staying away from him. I know what happens. If I go near that snake, I'm going to get killed. And it is quite difficult to tell the difference, but there is a rhyme that people have made to help you know which snake is which. And the saying goes like this: red touches yellow, kills a fellow. Red touches black, friend of Jack. So it seems that when the snake was evolving, it got the colours right, but it didn't get the correct order right. But that's just because those colours alone signal to other animals. You see those colours and you think, oh God, it's that poisonous snake, stay away. That's all it needs. You're not going to, most animals aren't going to stop and count the colours and go, oh, what order is it in? They're just going to see the colours and they're going to think, get me out of here, I'm not going near that snake. At the end of the day, it's not worth the risk. If a bird comes up to eat the snake and goes, oh, but hang on, that's not the correct order, so I can eat this one, it's better to be safe than sorry and just think, do you know what, actually, I'm not going to go near this, I'm going to pass, I'll find something else to eat. So it pays off in the end. So yes, those are the best examples I can think of, but there are many, many more. And it just got me thinking, I wonder if this, you know, it's happened in modern times with modern animals. I wonder if it could have happened during the dinosaurs, because for me this stands out like a sore thumb. Why on earth have these two animals both got these huge sails on their back? I think the Tyrannosaurus is basically copying the Spinosaurus to use this as a deterrent to put off predators. But what do you think? Do you agree? Do you think this could have been used as a deterrent? Or do you disagree? Do you think it was just completely randomly by chance that these two animals both had sails? What do you think they were used for? Do you think it was for mating? Do you think it was to make the animal look bigger? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll be interested to see what your ideas are. So as you can see, the enclosure is coming along nicely now. We're going for a more savanna habitat for the Ouranosaurus. So we've got a nice mixture of different habitats. We've got the massive swamp and lake area for the Spinosaurus. The Carcharodontosaurus have got more of a jungle styled habitat, and then the Ouranosaurs are going to have this more open area with a bit more grazing, you know, areas to graze and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to make it blend in well. We're trying to make the jungle like it gives way to this savanna area, but we've still got a lot of water here because the cruise ship where the guests can get on, they're going to travel along this river through the Ouranosaurus enclosure. And you'll also see that we've also put the checkpoint in at the beginning there. That's where one gate will open, the boat can come in, the gate will close, and then the second gate will open so they can enter the Ouranosaurus enclosure without letting the Spinosaurus in and eating some of the Ouranosaurs. We don't want any of that now, do we? So I'm just building a bit of a cliffy area here, a bit of a rocky ledge, just to give the environment a bit of character so it's not just all flat and boring. So we'll put all these rocks in, and then we'll start putting in the vegetation, some grassland plants that can squeeze in the gaps of the rock and stuff like that. And we'll also put a few savanna trees dotted in the middle. Lovely. So they'll have a nice variety of different foods for their diet. They can come onto the land and feed off the shrubs and bushes growing in the grasslands of the savanna, or they can go into the river and feed off the aquatic plants there. So they'll get a nice variety there. And we'll also, of course, the keepers will be putting food out for them, some vegetables and some fruits to make sure that they're kept healthy. We don't want them malnourished. You can see there I'm just putting in some of those beautiful umbrella trees. I love those, and that will provide a bit of shade as well if the animals want to lie down and get out of that heat. That will give them a bit of shelter from that hot, intense sun. And I'm trying to blend the grass there with the dirt and try and make it look as natural as possible. Sometimes it's quite difficult. You can see if you don't do it right, it stands out. You can see the line when you put too many different terrains on top of each other. It just doesn't look right. So I'm trying to really blend it in. You've got to put it, you can't put the intensity too high because then it goes too much too soon. So you're trying your best just to slowly blend it in gradually, make it look as natural as you can get it. There we go, put a few dead trees in there as well. Lovely. And a few rocks. Wonderful. So, let's get up a few facts about the Ouranosaurus. I've talked enough about its sail. Let's have a look at a few facts about this animal. So, let's get up the size measurements of this animal. Well, it's quite a medium-sized dinosaur. It's about 7 to 8.3 meters long and weighs up to 2.2 tons, which for dinosaur standards that doesn't seem very large, but it is a big animal. If you're going to compare it with an animal that's alive today, I'd probably say a male American bison, which can weigh around 2 tons, so a similar weight to the Ouranosaurus. And when you look at American bison, you don't think, oh, that's a small animal. It's only because with dinosaurs there's so many large ones like sauropods and things like that that we think, oh, it doesn't look that big, but it's still a very, very large animal. You definitely wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of one if it decided to charge at you. And over here on the other side of the river, you can see we're putting in a mangrove forest, bit of a boggy area. You can see we put in a few puddles, bit of trapped water, somewhere where the Ouranosaurus can maybe, I don't know, roll around in the mud to cool off. And maybe that mud could be used as sunscreen, a bit like what elephants do today. So they could cover themselves in this mud, and that would protect them from the sun. And then I'm just trying to blend that mangrove forest to look like it's going into the jungle at the back there. Now we'll put the fence somewhere in those bushes, so the bushes will hide the fence, so it will give the illusion to the guests that they are not inside an enclosure, but they've actually gone back in time into this vast open area. I mean, it is pretty vast actually. When you look at the size of this enclosure, it is really big. I think we have spoiled the Ouranosaurs here, but there are 30 of them, so we need to make sure it's definitely big enough for them to explore, plenty of space to roam, and plenty of plants for them to feed off as well. Animals like these need a lot of food, so we will be feeding them, but if they can get their own food as well whilst they're out and about, you know, they need all the food they can get really. So we're coming close to the end of this build now. There's still quite a bit for me to do though, a lot of tidying up and just making sure everything is presentable before we give you a full tour of this park. So it's a matter of just filling in the gaps, making sure all the areas that are blank are filled in and it all looks as natural as possible, and then the guests are welcome to come and visit Prehistoric Savanah. And you know what? I've really enjoyed building this. It's been absolutely fantastic. I love the new dinosaurs that have been brought into the game, and I can't wait to see the new animals that they're going to be bringing in the future. There's the Elasmotherium that's coming some point in the year, and also the cave lion. Those are the two that we've heard of so far. So I can't wait to make an enclosure for those as well. There's that many dinosaurs. I can't keep up with the with the demand. As soon as I finish one enclosure, there's a new animal that needs a new home. And I do hope that the Ouranosaurs are happy with the home that we've made them. So there we go. The habitat is done. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. And if you'd like to see our other builds, why not check out our Spinosaurus habitat or Carcharodontosaurus enclosure on screen now. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what happens in Prehistoric Savanah next.